Dakota, not from South Dakota, not from North Dakota, but Dakota from Texas has got to take on what the defense is going to be in Austin here in 2025.
Hey JD, this is Dakota from Texas. I just want to say, first of all, I love the show. I tune in all the time to get my Texas Longhorns info. I'm going out to have a prediction where instead of Texas having the best secondary in the country like they did last year, I believe that Texas on defense is going to have the best front seven in college football this year.
Hey, Dakota from Texas calling his shot, man. You know what, Dakota, it's not that crazy to say. It's not crazy at all, based on the personnel, based on what they've done the last couple of years. But I think the fact that it's not crazy to say is where this actually gets more interesting to me. We'll talk about it right now. Before we do that, though, the hard count presented by Culver's. So Texas Longhorn fans, make sure you are subscribed because Culver's taking care of us here at the hard count. And on the On3 YouTube channel, excited to let y'all know, man, Andy and Ari On3 will be coming to you live from the draft in Green Bay this week, Thursday, April 24th to Friday, April 25th. All right, we were set up right outside famous frozen tundra of Lambeau Field at the Culver's Great Wisconsin Tailgate. We'll see what happens with a one Jade Barron and where he ends up. Born in Wisconsin, Culver's is the home of the legendary Butterburger, fresh frozen custard, and Wisconsin cheese curds. There's no better rep of America's Dairyland than that. They will have some special guests for us. The draft that you won't want to miss. Stay tuned for more details and get ready for a weekend of fun made fresh with our friends at Culver's. Make sure you're dialed in. Right, I'm telling y'all, you don't want to miss that. So let's go back to what Dakota was saying, man. The fact that you can even make this prediction and it's not a hot take speaks so loudly to what Steve Sarkisian has done as a head coach throughout his career now evolving to this point and what he's done at Texas. Like, Steve Sarkisian, what do you know about him? Offensive guy, quarterback guru, been an offensive coordinator at different stops at a really high level. That persona and that profile doesn't typically align with having a top front seven in college football. It doesn't. But it could very well happen this year. Why? Because Steve Sarkisian has been an absolute dog on the recruiting trail, has been an absolute dog about his team's culture, and has made it a point to win in the trenches as they moved into the SEC. I don't think we understand how crazy this is. This is hard for any coach to do, even if you specialize in the defensive side, man. Like Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, he's taken a while to get his defense up to the standard he expects. This is not something that you just do overnight. And it hasn't been overnight for Texas either, but I think when Steve Sarkisian has evolved in this way to have a defense like he has right now and has proof of concept that he has right now, y'all, this would be like Taylor Swift elevating and having like a top-tier rap career. We got Kendrick Lamar, we got Drake, you got J. Cole, you got Taylor Swift, the Mount Rushmore right now. No, we're not saying that. Why? Because that's not Taylor Swift's bag. She's doing the pop thing, the country thing, whatever she's doing now. But Sark has evolved in this way and crossed paths and cross-built his roster, I suppose, to still have a top-tier defensive line. And I think that's a top-tier front seven. I think that in itself is extremely, extremely scary for college football because the formula you work with now if you're Texas is that we just spoke to of the front seven, plus what Sark already does well. Quarterback guru, knows weapons, coach Heisman Trophy winners. He's going to attract Arch Manning, attract Dia Bell. This is Texas, dude. Like, that's the formula. That formula in and of itself is indisputable. That's going to win at the highest level. That is modern college football right now. Win up front on defense, have a game changer at quarterback that's a top-tier guy, you're going to probably compete for a national championship, as Texas has done the last 2 years, being in semifinals. The proof of concept, though, for Texas is what makes this really sustainable. Because a lot of people, whenever you see Texas land a top recruit, it happened, this past cycle with Justice Terry. People yell, well, NIL was the bag, and that's why they got him. And, maybe. I don't think that Texas is out here poor. I don't think anybody's pretending that's the case. But Texas, if they didn't have dudes getting drafted up front, if they didn't have All-Americans like Devondre Sweat was, like Byron Murphy was, are you landing Justice Terry? Probably not, right? That's probably not a world you're living in. And so I think when you speak to the resources plus the proof of concept, plus how you think about Texas having a top-tier front seven, that's where this thing is going to really, I think, start to flywheel. That's where the system starts to feed itself because people see those guys playing on Sundays They want to do what they're doing. So what do? You go put on the burnt orange and you get after it for a few years, and you go play on Sundays, and then rinse and repeat for the next cycle. So give Steve Sarkisian credit for what I just said, adapting, evolving, all those things. But it's important to note here, it wasn't like this when Steve Sarkisian inherited Texas. The Texas job, we've said many times, you kind of had, if you're a college football coach on the ascension, a little bit of trepidation taking that job, because the narrative was the boosters are so, with their hands in the cookie jar there, and everyone wants to get their take in there with how you run your football team. It's not really your football team, and the culture is bad. Not just has Texas built a tough culture, as well as a tough, roster up front. That's now like what you can tell Texas is stereotypically. It's not just a thing that you see like game, one here or game off there. It's consistently who Texas is. And that's what's impressive. It's now an identity at Texas to be tough up front. It wasn't that way for a long time until Sark got there. And it's kind of like, you don't need to see the names on the roster to know this is true. You don't need to see all the 5-stars to know this is true. They went out and bullied Saban's Alabama, did Texas a couple of years ago. We were there in person on the field, saw it. Even if you just closed your eyes and heard the pads popping when Texas was on defense, you knew it was a different outfit up front than there was a couple of years ago. Different push up front, and it ended up being the way the whole game went. Bullied them. So now people will say, well, hey, can Sark win the big one? My question would be, why not? Been in the semis the last 2 years. Why can't he win the big one? People will say, well, that's just it. Been in the semis and lost twice. Yeah, been in the semis and lost twice. He was a play away both times from that game being totally different. You know who else was a play away in multiple spots from competing for, or at least winning a national championship in some cases? Kirby Smart, game against Alabama. Devontae Smith, overtime catch, touchdown, walk-off. Ryan Day, missed field goal against Georgia. They would have body bagged TCU. If you're a play away enough times, eventually those plays start to break your way, like they did for Ryan Day, like they did for Kirby Smart. And so if this is now the consistency of a Texas when it comes to culture, toughness, all those things up front, even if they don't have the best front seven in college football, just them being tier one, that's going to be something that puts Texas in the national title conversation every single year. So great stuff from Dakota there. Again, give us your thoughts, 629-888-3931. But if it happens, great. But if not, where Texas is right now in general, to me, they're going to have a couple of swings at this thing as long as Steve Sarkisian is the head coach in Austin.